Anthem. It's going to be shown on the screen. Seated. May I respectfully invite the acting registrar of the University of Port Harcourt, Mrs. Joyce Tamino, for the rest of the program. Thank you.
May I most respectfully call upon the Vice Chancellor, Professor Wunari Abraham George Will, to come and declare this inaugural lecture, the 175th inaugural lecture open and our special inaugural lecturer, the one and only.
Good afternoon. When I came into this place, I was wondering how I would do the protocols because I'm seeing my fifth and the 7 vice chancellors already seated. I'm seeing professors, those who taught me. In fact, the protocol is difficult to establish today, but I will just try my best to establish this protocol today. Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, who incidentally is the inaugural lecturer today, DBC Academic, DBC R1D, my acting registrar, deans, and those of us who are here on the high table here, my fifth Vice Chancellor, the vintage Professor Andy Briggs. You are welcome. The 7th Vice Chancellor, Professor Joseph Ajenka, you are welcome. My beloved wife, Dr. Mrs. Deme George Will, you are welcome. The wife of the 7th Vice Chancellor, Ma, you are welcome. Distinguished professors, emeritus, and those who are still in active service, those who are retired, the family of my beloved inaugural lecturer, I greet you and I welcome you. Friends of the distinguished inaugural lecturer, I welcome all of you to the Epitome Banigo Auditorium for today's inaugural lecture. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to say that everybody here, both students, staff, everyone is recognized. Thank you. Before I read his citation, my opening remark is brief but very significant. Ladies and gentlemen, I have titled this opening remark, God's time is the best. God's time is the best. This inaugural lecture you're about to listen today by Professor Clifford Obiyo Ofurum, an erudite scholar, an accomplished entrepreneur, an administrator by excellence, my confidence, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administrator of this university will have been delivered long before this day. But circumstances, control, didn't allow that to happen. On this day, and just try to listen to this erudite 175th Inaugural. Professor, how have been equated skills acquisition with entrepreneurship. I want to ask, if a medical or engineering student is taught how to become a barber or a mason, will that be entrepreneurship? What is entrepreneurship then? Who is an entrepreneur? Will entrepreneurship education reduce unemployment in a resource-poor setting like ours? Will entrepreneurship close the gap of a dysfunctional educational system and its attendance? 2002, the National University Commission made the teaching and learning of entrepreneurship compulsory in our universities and other institutions of higher learning in order to enable tertiary institutions produce Through sound entrepreneurship, graduates will be job providers rather than be jobs. I want to ask us in the academia, was the absence of entrepreneurship education in our time the reason why our wealth of knowledge didn't translate to wealth creation? Do we actually believe in entrepreneurship? Why are most of us not entrepreneurs? Footballers and actors are seen as very successful by the society. Are they entrepreneurs? Is an entrepreneur? Why are there so much misconceptions surrounding the term
Record space.
Vice Chancellor, University of Port Harcourt. Vice Chancellors, members of the Governing Council, principal officers of the University of Port Harcourt, Provost, College of Health Sciences, Dean Graduate School, Dean Faculty of Management Sciences, in the first place, I'd like to dedicate this lecture to the Almighty God. Secondly, I dedicate it to the mompreneur in my house, my wife, Mrs. Ofurum. This woman caught my heart while we were at Prof College, Power School at UNN, and has held it ever since then. She's the best friend, lover, and wife God ever gave a man. Honey, I love you. And together, we love our four miraculous children, Edison, Janet, Uchechi, and Ezekiel. Why do I call them miraculous? Vice Chancellor, sir. My wife and I are both AS, and we knew it when we got married. But to the glory of God, we have two of them AA and two of them AS. Check my friend, the 9th Vice Chancellor of this university. He already told you I'm confident. Three previous Vice Chancellors made a mark while I'm here. And I'm still here. Professor Briggs appointed me when he was on acting capacity. Professor Barrington established me when he closed the mouth of lions against me. Professor Achenka exposed me to the world. I will talk about him very soon. I didn't have a younger brother for a bit, but when I get to University of Port Harcourt, God gave me a younger brother in the person of Dr. Solomon Egbe. Finally, I like to appreciate those whose action and inaction made this lecture what it is today. God has a purpose in every plan. And like the VC said, this lecture was scheduled for 31st of October, 2019. But for whatever intent and purpose, some persons exercise their power and canceled it. What can I say to such people today? Thank you for making it better for me. There are so many here that I did not remember to acknowledge. I just hope you pardon me. May the Almighty God that sees in secret bless each and every one of you. Now, here are my presentation outlines. Clifford Ofurum is a problem of destiny. Some pertinent questions. Why entrepreneurship education? Misconception about the person, the entrepreneur. Misconception about what to teach and how to teach entrepreneurship. Misconception about the entrepreneurial university. Then conclusions and recommendations. Like I said, I am a part of destiny, all rooted in God. Especially for a young man that had no career plan, even as a teenager. Papa had died very early, and Mama didn't go to school. So I didn't have any academic advisor from day one. However, the game changer came when I passed all the 9 subjects in WAEC in one sitting. That gave me a choice of university education or the trade which I also actually thought I was going to go into. The choice of science education was only prompted by the combinations of subjects I passed in school certificate, nothing more than that. However, in 1988, there was a deep conviction that there was a wrong profession. I opted to change my program to accounting, even at the expense of starting all over again. Vice Chancellor son. Destiny played a role when NUC came up with the policy of no PhD, no senior lecturer. Because as at that time, I was not prepared for PhD. Eventually, when that policy came, I sought admission in this university to do accounting. And the only man that could have admitted me said no, but I didn't have ICANN. Ladies and gentlemen, today, you know that I have an ICANN. I'm a fellow, and not just for ICANN, of all the professional bodies. So that note admission pushed me to do a PhD in finance. Destiny again played out when I was Vice Chancellor. Professor Jennifer appointed me Director of Entrepreneurial Center and later the Director of the Board Business School. He changed my research orientation by sponsoring me to so many conferences and workshops outside this nation. Vice Chancellor sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today I am neither discussing accounting nor finance, but entrepreneurship, my new research interest. Now, here are some pertinent questions. Why do people with so many academic qualifications end up working for others who may not have a single degree? How come that as academics, we are so intelligent, so knowledgeable, have all manner of degrees and certificates, yet most of us have not been able to translate this thing to wealth creation? Can we, in all honesty, teach our students to be entrepreneurs when we are not entrepreneurs? Put differently, can somebody actually give what he does not have? Why entrepreneurship education? In 2002, the National University Commission made the teaching and learning of entrepreneurship compulsory in our universities and other higher institutions. Now, the aim is to reduce graduate unemployment by making our graduates job providers rather than job seekers. However, the extent of accomplishment of this goal is a discussion for another day. Vice Chancellor Sam, time will not fail me to explain the origin of this massive unemployment in sub-Saharan Africa. The major cause of unemployment in sub-Saharan Africa is the fact that our population is growing at a rate that is higher than the rate of our GDP growth. As I speak today, our population is growing at 2.76%, whereas our GDP is growing at 2%, and the gap is still widening. What then is the cause of our population explosion? Vice Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, our attitude and policies towards the education of the African girl child is the reason why our population is growing at the rate it is growing. Unfortunately, we are from this part of the world where the education of the male children is also given more priority. Vice Chancellor, sir, if for nothing else, education will reduce the active years that a girl child can make babies. Number two, education gives the girl child an opportunity cost of either pursuing her career or making babies. But most importantly, when a girl child is educated, he has a voice in terms of the number of children that the family will have. Now, here are the results. Educated girls grow into career women, and career women don't make so many babies. Best for births, my mother had 11 of us. I am number 10, and my younger sister is here. But my wife has only 4. And I don't see any of those my 2 children, the girls, having more than 2 kids. So what that means is that education reduces the population while ensuring quality workforce. How? When a woman is educated, she will insist that her children be educated. If you are in doubt, ask yourself one simple question in the home. You know that educated women are more interested in the education of their children than educated men. Ask yourself one question. Who is more interested in doing the children's homework? The woman, of course. So we recommend functional girl child education as a panacea for birth control in sub-Saharan Africa. The slogan, train the African girl child and solve the abortion problem. Then solve the abortion problem, and also solve the unemployment problem. The aim of this lecture. Vice Chancellor said, today, entrepreneurship and related terms like entrepreneur, enterprise are common and are used loosely and interchangeably, even among colleagues. Our aim, therefore, is to identify these misconceptions so as to see how our university can benefit from this all-important subject area. Number one is the misconception about the person, the entrepreneur. It is not the intent of this lecture to provide the best definition of entrepreneurship. However, I must put it on record that the different definition of entrepreneur is because of the different backgrounds of those who are writing this entrepreneurship course. Entrepreneurship originated from diverse areas. management, economics, sociology, anthropology, and each of these professionals tend to find this area based on the philosophy of their subject area. However, for the purpose of this lecture, I like to adapt the maxim of George Bernard Shaw. Now, for those of you who are in literature, you will agree with me that Bernard Shaw was a literary giant. But more importantly, he was a co-founder of the London School of Economics. Bernard Shaw said, and I quote, that the reasonable man adapts himself to the world, but the unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. He concludes, therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. All progress depends on the unreasonable man. Vice Chancellor, sir, entrepreneurs are unreasonable people because they try to force the world to see things from their own perspective. In fact, I call them creative disruptors because they change the world order in their bid to create new markets or new world order. VC, sir, recall that on the 20th of July 1969, Armstrong and his colleagues drove the Apollo 11 jet to the moon. And on that day, I am sure that the reasonable people would have been asking them, what are these lunatics looking for in the moon? But today, space research has become the order of the day. More importantly, space research holds the solution to man's so many unresolved problems. Entrepreneurs are very visionary. An ordinary person sees difficulty in every opportunity, but entrepreneurs see opportunity in every difficulty. They see beyond the ordinary. Vice Chancellor, sir, in the 17th century, a group of Anglican bishops were meeting in Ohio in the United States with only one agenda: to discuss the world order. What will the world look like in the next 100 years, 200 years, and 300 years? And they started providing solutions until it got to the turn of Bishop Milton Wright. Milton Wright told the gathering that he's seen a world that is a very small village. A world that people can, fly from one end to the other with ease. As soon as he mentioned the word fly, the moderator told him to sit down and told him not to preach heresy because they were children of God. He said, and I quote, that if God wanted man to fly, that God would have given man wings. You know the story? This Milton Wright became the father of two unreasonable people, Wilbur and Orville Wright, whom you all call the Wright brothers, and are created to modern day aviation. Before they became, their father had already seen beyond time. COVID-19 as an entrepreneur. Vice Chancellor, sir, if COVID-19 were to be a human being, it would be a classical example or definition of an entrepreneur, a disruptor that changed forever the way the world does business. 10 years ago, who would have believed that the Federal Executive Council of Nigeria could hold a meeting virtually? 4 years ago, who would have believed that Nigerian students could hold their project defense and even lectures through Zoom? Vice Chancellor, sir, today, learning through Zoom and meeting through Zoom is not the new normal, courtesy of COVID-19. And this is exactly how entrepreneurs change the world order. Vice Chancellor, sir, This explanation brings to ridicule what some of us are doing in the name of entrepreneurship. It is not uncommon in this university to see colleagues display shoes, belts, craft made by students, and they claim that they're doing entrepreneurship. Vice Chancellor, sir, there is a great difference between skill acquisition and entrepreneurship. And that difference lies in the innovation space. Ladies and gentlemen, while skill acquisition leaves a person in sustaining and also in the red ocean, entrepreneurship results in a new product or idea which takes that person into the blue ocean. Vice Chancellor, sir, there are two mighty oceans in the marketing space, and those oceans divide skill acquisition and entrepreneurship. One is called red ocean because there is competition in that ocean. A lot of competition. So companies begin to struggle using price wars to undercut each other. There are many sharks in this red ocean. And that is why the larger companies will try to swallow the younger ones so as to get bigger. On the other hand, the blue ocean is a marketing space for a new product. Innovation creates new demand, hence no competition. When an entrepreneur develops a new product through innovation, he continues to enjoy monopoly until there is what? A substitute. Ladies and gentlemen, disruption could be either evolutionary or revolutionary. It all depends on the marketing space that the person is serving. Now look at how it goes. If you are dealing with old products, whether you are selling to old users or new users, you're a sustainer, you're a businessman, you're an investor. But once you come up with a new product or new idea, that makes you an entrepreneur. However, if you serve the new product to old users, you become an entrepreneur by evolution. But if you serve the same new product to new users, you become an entrepreneur by revolution. Number two, misconception on how to teach entrepreneurship and what to teach. Vice Chancellor, sir, there are a whole lot of misconceptions about how to teach entrepreneurship and also what to teach. Can someone teach entrepreneurship to a student who does not understand how they learn? To effectively teach this course, a lecturer must understand how students learn, because he who dares to teach must never cease to learn. Vice Chancellor, sir, there are 4 basic ways that our students learn. Some learn by doing, and doing through active experimentation. Others learn by watching, watching through reflective observation. Others learn by feeling, feeling through concrete experience. And others learn by thinking, thinking through abstract conceptualization. Consequently, these 4 learning methods results in 2 continua. One is what I call the east-west pole, where you have science students, medical students, engineering students, and allied faculties. Students in the processing continua are hands-on and they prefer activities. Number 2 is the perception continuum, and what I call the North Pole, North-South Pole. In this category, you meet art students, music students, philosophy students, and allied areas. Students in this set respond to emotion, and they are very aesthetic. Vice Chancellor, sir, the interaction of the processing continuum and perception continuum results in 4 types of students, depending on their learning style. Hence, we have diverging students that learn through feeling and watching. We have converging students that learn through thinking and doing. We have assimilating students that learn through thinking and watching. And finally, we have accommodating students that learn through feeling and thinking. What is the implication of all this? Number 1, students in each learning group learn differently. Therefore, a lecturer must understand this if he must make an impact in an entrepreneurship classroom. Secondly, the practice and example used in each student set are crucial and must be dependent on the learning method. For example, engineering students are convergers who prefer to use their hands and create new ideas. A lecturer must therefore use practical application to get them to learn. However, should that lecturer or another lecturer use that method for philosophy students, he will end up talking to himself because he won't understand them and they will also understand him. Vice Chancellor, sir, understanding the various learning methods would help a lecturer match the student's skill with the appropriate challenges. Now, following the skill and challenge matrix, lecturers must teach different concepts to different levels of students. VC, sir, it is not uncommon in this university to see colleagues teach the same concept at the same level of mastery to both graduates and undergraduate students. In fact, I have seen a situation where a colleague replicated the same question he gave graduate students to undergraduate students. I'm afraid that method is wrong because it will either result in anxiety or boredom. Now, when there is a flow, what that means is that a lecturer is able to match the student's skill with the appropriate challenge. Now, what is flow? Flow refers to a state of operation where the individual is fully involved. He is happy and actively enjoying whatever activity he performs. If there is a flow, a student will come to class naturally. You don't need to force him. When there is a flow, attendance will no longer be a method of forcing them to come to class because naturally they will attend because they love what we are doing and they're enjoying it. I am sure you know VCs that bed for attendance. Some students will not attend some lecturers, class because they go there and come out more confused. Number 3 is misconception about the teaching approach. Vice Chancellor, sir, what type of information should we be communicating to our students? Theory, practical skill, or concepts? Okay, if I say theory, can a lecturer without practical experience teach entrepreneurship? Again, if I say practice, can an industry person without certificate teach undergraduates? Vice Chancellor, sir, if you look at the theory and practice matrix, our university is operating as segment B. Segment B is characterized by high theory with little or no practice, no business incubation, no technological park. Academics sees entrepreneurship as an academic discipline and believe it can be taught like other subject areas. It's not true. Now, if you go to section C, which I call the Ikoku Boys apprenticeship. Now, in segment 3, You have people with very high skill, but little or no theory to back their skill. For example, if you get to Ikoku, you will see a great number of tech entrepreneurs who can fix all manner of car problems, but have no little idea of the theory behind what they are doing. Hence, I recommend segment D, which I call actionable theory, where theory meets practice. Hence, our students must be exposed to entrepreneurial gains. The reason is that entrepreneurship is a practice rooted in theory. Number 4, misconception about the subject area. Vice Chancellor, sir. The question is, to what extent are we covering the entrepreneurship syllabus? Recall that there are 5 dimensions of entrepreneurship. You have the business basics. You have entrepreneurship. You have social entrepreneurship. You have entrepreneurship as a way of thinking and a way of acting. Finally, you have entrepreneurship as a distinct subject area. Now, what we observe here is a situation where 100% of our colleagues, they teach only the business basics. Only about another 10% we add social entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship. You hardly see any discuss entrepreneurship as a way of life and as a distinct discipline. The question then is, why the emphasis on business basics? Why emphasis on business basics, which deals with only how to start a business? Vice Chancellor, sir, starting a business does not make one an entrepreneur. If you go around this campus, you see people selling banana, granola, biscuit. They are not entrepreneurs. They are business people looking for their profit. So why the emphasis on business basics? Vice Chancellor, sir, entrepreneurs do not go for businesses. Rather, they go for startups. What is a startup? A startup is a hypothesis in search of a scalable, repeatable, profitable business model. It is when the business model works that it brings in innovation. When that model works, the startup will survive and bring innovation into the marketing space. Unfortunately, the world has moved on from where we are. The world has moved on from entrepreneurship as a business basics. Today, the world is at a point where entrepreneurship is now a lifestyle, a way of thinking, and a way of acting. Now, under this domain, somebody is entrepreneurial when that person can add value. Value to who? Value to yourself, to your family, to your system, and to the society. So one is entrepreneurial when you can add value to even another person. You are entrepreneurial when you can leave an office better than you made that office. VC, I'm sure that by the time you're going to leave as a VC, that office will be better than you met it. And that automatically qualifies you as an entrepreneur. Now, what are we teaching? If you are in doubt, you can look at the AUC syllabus. The course contents are there. Teach opportunity recognition, teach imagination, what we call the imaginarium of the entrepreneur. Teach creativity and innovation. Above all, teach them that they can always learn from failure. Today, what we do in this university is to teach entrepreneurship as partly accounting, partly marketing, partly finance, and partly management. When you do that, it is wrong. That's why you see such mundane topics as function of a manager, break-even point, 4 Ps. These are mundane things. The world has moved on. And when we do this, we don't portray entrepreneurship as a distinct discipline. A subject is a distinct discipline when you can do a research in that area. Number 5, misconception about pedagogy. Vice Chancellor, sir. Knowing what to teach without knowing how to teach has no value to our students. Because you and I know that teaching is a core mandate. Although teaching is a core mandate, teaching is a list in the hierarchy of scholarship. Vice Chancellor, sir. There are 4 separate but overlapping areas of scholarship. And in order of hierarchy, you have the scholarship of discovery. You have the scholarship of integration, scholarship of application, and scholarship of teaching. You can see how low teaching is in the hierarchy. Let me say this with all apology. That you are a teacher does not make you intelligent. At all. You can actually do it and tell. Just like the pastor who is preaching the Bible, you can read the particular chapter very well and explain to your audience. It doesn't make you intelligent. If you are intelligent, the best place to go to is in the discovery, which is through applied research. Vice Chancellor, sir. From day one, there is an expectation gap. And what is this expectation gap? It is the gap between how our students feel when they are about to enroll in the entrepreneurship course and how they feel when they have finished that course. This is at inception, students are challenged, they're enthusiastic. Oh, we're about to do that course that will make us job providers and have financial freedom. But very, very soon, very, very soon, very, very soon, expectation confronts reality. Our research reveals that this gap could be traced to the pedagogy. Ladies and gentlemen, and apologies to my friends in education, pedagogy is not the method of teaching. Pedagogy is the method of teaching a child. If you look at the Greek word, ped means a child. Vice Chancellor, I ask, no University of Port Harcourt student is less than 16. At least that was a minimum before they were admitted. So how do you use the method used for children to teaching adults? That's my question. If they are adults, why do we adopt the same method we use for children to teaching them? Adults, they learn differently. And the lecturer must factor this in to make an impact. Besides, the reasons adults learn is quite different from the reason that children learn. Children only learn to pass exams and go to the next class. Adults learn to be equipped to face challenges. And consequently, adults don't like to be bossed around. They want to be part of the teaching and learning process. Hence, we recommend self-directed teaching, which is andragogy and hypnagogy. We also recommend that students must participate in the class. And above all, group assignments must be encouraged, or what we call case studies. Finally, number 6, misconception about the entrepreneurial university. Vice Chancellor, sir, I am very grateful for this opportunity to talk about something I am passionate about, because only God knows when I will have the muscle to gather this kind of crowd again. This is, I'm aware that our university has the slogan of being an entrepreneurial university. However, we must make certain things very, very clear. Vice Chancellor, sir. An entrepreneur, a university does not become entrepreneurial just by self-declaration. Let me repeat that. Let me repeat that. A university does not become entrepreneurial just by self-declaration. Number two, entrepreneurial university cannot come into existence only by mere pronouncement. What that means is that the management of a university cannot wake up one morning and declare the university entrepreneurial. For what now? Though our university is on track of becoming entrepreneurial, so much is still required to achieve this status. These are the factors that make up an entrepreneurial university. Number one is leadership and governance. Number two is university business and external relationship. Number three is knowledge transfer with the external world. Number four is pathway to entrepreneurs. Number five is entrepreneurship development in teaching and in learning. And finally, organizational capacity, people and incentive, which we call funding. Now, the first four is outside the scope of this lecture. Number five is what I've been talking about in the past 40 minutes, but I'm timing myself. Let me say something about number six, which has to do with funding. Vice Chancellor, sir, funding is very important, if not more important than any other aspect of the university. Without funds, these eggheads, you can't maximize them. Without funds, no faculty, no department, no lecturer, no student. An entrepreneurial university must aim at funding independence. How can you be entrepreneurial when if government does not pay salary, you can't do anything? Yes, God forbid, federal government withdraw salary. What will an entrepreneurial university do? Recall, during Obasanjo's regime, Lagos State functioned as a state for over 8 years without federal government funding. An entrepreneurial state. Funding independence. This is the time has come for us to leverage on our alumni. The time has come for this university to leverage on our alumni. And the way to go is through crowdfunding. I told somebody today that as an entrepreneur, I spent over 7 million naira for this thing, but I didn't spend one kobo out of it. I just crowdfunded. What you are seeing today is everybody here paid. I crowdfunded. I didn't put my own money. What I did is what I know how to do best. I organized them. And they crowdfunded for me. The time has come for us to leverage on alumni. You see, what we do in this university, we have one or two big fishes that we look onto. Every time we need money, we go to Mr. A and Mr. B. It leads to donors fatigue. They are getting tired. Why look for 200 million from one person when you can get 5,000 from 100,000 people? The director is here. You know how many students we have in alumni? 5,000. We will stop disturbing those people because they're also getting tired of us. This is the concept of entrepreneurial university presupposes that higher education should play a role in the socio-economic development of their immediate environment, state, and country. Therefore, the philosophy of entrepreneurial university is simply an effective strategy for actualizing this objective. There are two components to entrepreneurial investing. One, it enhances future entrepreneurs by creating an environment that will encourage students to become creative and innovative. While creativity means thinking new things, and innovation means doing new things. Number two, direct entrepreneurial action of the university, providing professionals to companies and businesses, incubators, community service, roundabout environment. This, I'm happy you are doing that. Just last week, people from our law and Joba came here for free entrepreneurship class. You keep it up, sir. God bless you. Recommendation. One for our students, one for colleagues, and one for the university. And I'd like to borrow from my lecturer from University of Benin. I'm sure he is somewhere. He logged on to hear me speak about this. This is if you look at the word knowledge, the first four is know, and the last four is edge. What that means is that when you know, it gives you an edge. And the only, yes, when you know, it gives you an edge. And the only way you can know is through center one, which is learning. Students, you must learn. There is no ready-made jobs out there. Even when there are jobs, the numbers of those who are looking for a job are more than the available spaces. Hence, the time to innovate is now. For my colleagues, if you are not current, you cannot be correct. Yes, if you are not current, you can never be correct. This area is changing, but most of us have remained stagnant and static. The time has come for us to adopt best practices. Entrepreneurship university must all be inclusive. We must teach the theory and also the practice. Besides, teaching is a two-way thing. Let us allow our students to be part of our teaching and learning methods. Now for the university, there is an urgent need to appoint a dean or a director of fundraising. I am sure you know that it is the way the world is going now. In fact, if you go to some countries, fundraising is like a faculty. But what can be more faculty than funds? Nothing. Because without that fund, there are no other faculties. So what can be more faculty than funding? We also recommend the triple helix pedagogy, where academics will teach only theory. Industry teaches practice, and government people will teach policies. As we end, this 48 minutes, as we end, let me quote Anthony Robbins. You see, in life, lots of people know what to do, but only few people actually do what they know. Knowing is not enough. You must take action. Closing. Vice Chancellor, sir, we are the disruptors, but entrepreneurship programs are the agents for change. They are the promoters of our dream, the facilitators of every opportunity, the generators of empowerment, and the promoters or provocators of every revolution. Therefore, whether through our teaching, research, or outreach, this is our sacred call, and this is our destiny. Thank you for listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the erudite scholar to officially hand over a copy of the inaugural lecture to the Vice Chancellor of the university. Please, can we put our hands together? Management faculty students, can you clap for your erudite scholar? Please, I want him to feel your impact. All the students, please put your hands together. Thank you, sir. May I hand over to the registrar once again for the rest of the program. Thank you, ma'am.
May I most respectfully call upon the Vice Chancellor, Professor Onwunari Abraham Georgeville, to give his closing remarks, and also to thank Professor Clifford Ofurum for a very enlightening entrepreneurial lecture. God bless you, sir.
All protocols duly observed. What else can I say? I was listening to the inaugural lecturer and I was asking myself, what else can I summarize in this lecture? But duty says I must summarize. Otherwise, I would have just said thank you and then we just go. But ladies and gentlemen, the adage that the proof of the pudding is in the eating is indeed a truism. As our erudites, eloquent, seasoned researcher by excellence, our 175th inaugural lecturer, Professor Clifford Obiyo Ofurum, has in the about 1 hour or so satisfied my curiosity, and I'm sure as well as yours, on the subject matter of entrepreneurship. The myths has been revealed, the misconceptions have been changed, and the records have been put straight. This inaugural lecture is 90-page document. Our inaugural lecturer did substantial justice to the issues affecting the knowledge and application of entrepreneurship in everyday life of a country and its citizens. He has brought to a closure the myths and the misconceptions about entrepreneurship. If you leave this place and you still are a bit confused, then you are not in this lecture. In order to put the record straight, our inaugural lecturer expounded on the various theories of entrepreneurship and told this distinguished audience in clear terms that entrepreneurs are disruptors of the world order. They change the way we do business. They adapt the world to themselves, not like majority of us who do everything within our powers to adapt ourselves to the world. He said that is wrong. We should stop doing that. Disruptive innovation creates new markets, new products and services that were hitherto not attractive to existing markets, but highly valuable in serving emerging markets and the unserved customer base. He told us that while the ordinary businessman chases after profit, the entrepreneur follows his passion. His driving force is not money, but rather a desire to satisfy societal need. He, however, warned that the desire to satisfy societal need does not equate to hatred for profit making. The entrepreneur makes profit, but profit making is never his driving force. Because I know my friend makes a lot of money. An entrepreneur is visionary and sees opportunity in every difficulty. He is not scared of competition. He is a pace setter and does things differently. In the estimation of our inaugural lecturer, most Nigerians in businesses are simply full-time businessmen and women and not entrepreneurs. Although to him, people like Reverend Father Izamugo of the famous Songhai Farms and Tony Elumelu, who believes that the future belongs to the youth, can be taken as entrepreneurs of high standing in our country. He described the Entrepreneurial Center as an incubation center, as a collaborative center, and as a center that develops and nurtures business models into ventures. He gave an example in his work of the establishment of the cassava sheaf plant arising from the business plan competition that was staged among students of this university. And that is the real direction entrepreneurship education should take. He further elucidated on what to teach, who to teach, and the distinct discipline of entrepreneurship. He told us how to teach, where he emphasized that andragogic approach rather than pedagogy is the best, since the students as adults learn differently from children, and that no university student is a child. In concluding this very highly educative lecture, our inaugural lecturer posited that entrepreneurship education produces graduates with requisite knowledge and motivation to succeed in their choosing careers and be less dependent on paid jobs. He talked about entrepreneurship yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and opined that the entrepreneurial world of the future must be practice-oriented. The entrepreneurial university, according to him, should be able to expose its students to entrepreneurial learning and activities to help them develop an entrepreneurial mindset. The entrepreneurial university must contribute to its immediate society and environment and resolve issues for business ventures in the surrounding environment, create upstarts and spin-offs, produce energy, poultry, bread, vegetables, and even repair cars. Are we there yet? We are going there. Our inaugural lecturer didn't categorically answer this question, whether we are there yet, but he has posed this to us. My guess is that he left it for each and every one of us to hazard a guess whether the University of Port Harcourt has arrived as an entrepreneurial university. He emphasized the role of alumni in fundraising activities for teaching and research, and stated regrettably that in our university, the alumni remain untapped massive source for university funding. And this funding, according to him, is without strings attached. A certificate to him now means an offline badge and may no longer put food on the table. Therefore, entrepreneurship education to enable our graduates grow themselves and by extension, grow the economy of our nation is key and has come to stay. He made some recommendations. He talked about triple Ellis pedagogy, in which academics will teach theory, industry will teach practical, and government will teach policies. And by so doing, we'll produce balanced graduates. He told us to invest in the good students business model, and also pleaded with us, the management, to appoint a dean or director of fundraising to harness all available funding sources to the university. I think after due consultation with management, we shall look at that recommendation very seriously. Ladies and gentlemen, let us kindly rise once again to applaud this erudite, 175th Inaugural Lecturer, our own Professor Clifford Obiyo Ofurum. Thank you, and God bless us all. Thank you.
Please, let's know how they clap. Please put the hands together. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. We are really very, please, we've not closed. Please, we don't want the hall to be rowdy. Please just be seated. We want to thank you so much for being part of this very wonderful presentation today. Thanks to Professor Ofurum. Thank you, all of you, for finding time to be here. Now listen to this announcement. The next inaugural lecture, 176 series, titled Non-Conventional Feedstuffs and Natural Feed Additives, Panacea for Increased and Safe Animal Production, is going to be delivered by Professor Monica O. Ironkwe, Department of Animal Science. Please, could you rise on your feet? Department of Animal Science, Faculty of Agriculture. Faculty of Agriculture, and the date is Thursday, 28th October, 2021. The time is 3 p.m. The venue is here, Ibitimi Banigo Auditorium, University Park. You are cordially and specially invited. We also want to inform you that this program is on Unique FM. It's being broadcast live on Radio Uniport 88.5 Unique FM. If you try it now, you will hear what I'm saying right now. Very clear and very distinct. Courtesy, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Port Harcourt. And don't forget that the radio is directly under the Faculty of Communication and Media Studies. They are the people behind, they powered it. So thank you so much. Now, I also want to specially, I've been directed to inform our erudite scholar, our Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, that we love him so much. And because of that, the university has packaged a very sumptuous cocktail in honor of Professor Ofurum, his immediate family, and his special selected guest. And the venue is the usual place. So those who are coming to the place already know themselves, the venue. Thank you so much. And I also want to inform us that members of the Governing Council of the University of Port Harcourt, the principal officers, all the former vice chancellors shall go to the Executive Council Chamber of the University of Port Harcourt. Then the cocktail will be at the other side. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. You've already been taken care of. So as you are leaving, something very spectacular will happen to you. Thank you. Thank you. May we rise on our feet as we take the university anthem. Immediately after the university anthem, please don't be in a hurry. The next will be the academic recession, and it's going to be led by the Vice Chancellor. Please stay tuned. Hey.
On the green lowlands and swampy plains of the new Calabar River stands the University of Port Harcourt, vision of our fathers, shining in the stars. Opportunities unlimited and equal. Our progeny citizens of the universe, from far and near, the pride of unicorn because unique, unicorn, unique, unicorn, unique, unicorn,
Please stay wherever you are. Just remain standing. You give us the recession music. Hold on. Please don't join the line.